this creative room, like I look around and I'm like, there's a lot of money that's in here. A lot of time, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. How did this all become about?
Well, it all kind of started when I knew I needed my own quiet space. I needed somewhere to create.
Okay.
It might look like there's a lot of money in this room. There's not. There's some frugal activity that happened here.
No, there's money in this room. You want to know why? If you start from that corner right over here, I know the audience can't see this, but they can see, like, they can have an idea. Like, you look at all of this painting from here. That's money.
Acrylic paint and a projector.
Yeah.
And a
That right
projector.
there. Somebody's probably going to pay like a lot of money for that one right there. I like that one.
Cowboy Bebop.
I don't even know who that is.
He's just one of the most badass anime characters.
Okay. So all my anime people that are watch anime, I don't know who that was, so don't come for me.
Don't come for me either.
Crazy. But no, like this is something special. It comes to life. Like when you sit in here, it's like it comes to life. It makes everything look and feel like it's energetic, ready to go, and things like that.
Yeah.
So this used to be, you said, your hub.
Yeah. It's a lot more comfortable now, but in the pre-build phases of this,
Mm-hmm.
it was a little cold, a little echoey.
Okay. So how did you eliminate the echoes?
Stuff on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see Vegeta right there too.
Oh yeah.
That's what I like right there.
That's a good one. There's a bit of a meme about that one.
What's the meme?
Don't come for me. Again, the anime community. But I believe that the subtitles on that scene said it's over 9,000, but the actual Japanese cartoon, like, I don't know, what's it called?
Dragon Ball Z?
When they speak.
When they speak, I don't know,
Just the voice
subtitles.
recording.
Like, yeah.
It was over 8,000. So there's a joke about it's over 9,000.
Over 9,000. This is innovation. Like innovation. Like you could sell this room itself.
It's kind of funny when we first moved into this house.
Yeah.
And what this room was before.
Yeah.
And what it is now. We can't sell this house. We have to sell this house to an anime fan or a nerd or someone who will appreciate the wall here
because you guys
and
have
not
to
completely paint over it.
Repaint over this? That'd be If
Yeah.
I saw anybody repaint over this, I'd ask questions. Like, this is an amazing backdrop for like a podcast. I know it looks busy and people would be like, yo, what the hell? Like, who did all this?
Big comic.
It's nice though. It's nice.
Yeah.
But we're here. We're here to talk. We're here to chat. We're here to conversate. You know, I think there's a lot to get into. Overcoming adversity, being resilient. You know, for you, what does overcoming adversity feel like? What does it look like?
Wow. What does it look like?
Mm-hmm.
Overcoming a challenge where someone underestimated you and said that you couldn't, or insinuated that you couldn't overcome something.
Mm-hmm.
I love proving people wrong in that sense.
Okay.
I love breaking through the barrier to show what I'm capable of doing and how I can get my mindset prepped and ready to do what needs to be done.
Speak to a time. Was that Fight to End? Was that some other time?
Fight to End took me out of a stagnant state, I would say.
Ooh, I like that.
2023 was an insane year for me, specifically an insane year of personal growth. And how I got there was not what I had planned at all. It kind of just, the opportunity was there. And I was very aware at the time that I was stagnant. I was sitting around a lot. I didn't have something that motivated me, something that made me want to get up and do something for myself, unless I saw it as a real challenge and something that could also impact the community. Like that was something that I heard about in 2022, but at the time I was so busy in 2022. I was getting married. I was first getting into the streaming. But then 2023 came around and I told myself 2023 will be the year I'm going to do Fight to End. And it pulled me out of such a state where I needed to do something to just get my ass up.
I like that you say that.
Do.
I like, no, because the thing is, it speaks to, like, I feel like there's a lot of, when I look at my metrics, and I look at the men and the women's side. So say for instance on YouTube, it's like, I believe it's sitting at like 18.5%. So there's a lot of females that watch the content. And I think that they get whatever they get from, you know, the certain guests that come on, right? So what I try to do with this, or should I say, what I believe I do with this show is I give it the element for people to want to tap into whatever it is they want to do, right? Like yourself, Fight to End. I did Fight to End. But it's like understanding how can we pull ourselves out of that funk? How do we pull ourselves out of, you know, whatever we've been through in life? Loss of a job, right? Could be you flunked a couple grades. You, did bad on a test. You know what I mean? How do we pull ourselves out of that?
I think you have to know who you are. You have to know what drives you. You have to try things. You have to try things. Seriously. If you see something, you're like, hey, I like that. And it just, you know, passing thought, hey, I like that. But you don't go chase after that thing. It's like, you have to do it. You have to figure out what drives you as a person. And with that, I knew that boxing was always intriguing to me. And it was something that I wrote as a goal because I do journal. And for 2023, I wrote for a goal. I wanted to get into a fitness class, or I wanted to do something like that. And when that opportunity came up, I'm like, yep, this is it. This is it. This is what we're going to do. And I knew myself that I was capable of doing it because I know how to practice a mindset. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get that. When you talk about mindset, you talk about journaling, the importance of that. Speak to that with the audience.
Well, with journaling, it's really important to me to be able to see my thoughts. And I'll use an analogy.
Go ahead.
So let's say you're doing mental math. Okay. A few like, you know, what's 2 + 2? You know, easy stuff. But then you try to get into that long division. Try to do that in your head. Like,
No, for sure.
So for me, it's like that with my thoughts, because I got a lot of thoughts that go swirling around up there. And if I don't see them in front of me, I can't critically analyze them. I need to figure out, why is this thought coming to me? Be aware of it. Where's it coming from? Should I dive into it a little bit? Should I figure out where that originated from, or should I just let it go? And I have to see that, because there are sometimes I perceive reality around me, and it's, if I'm in an emotional state, I can't perceive it the way that it's actually. Yeah, I would say I have to see what I'm thinking in order to understand how I got there. That's why journaling's so important. I like to manifest things. I like to tell myself, you're going to do this. And I do it. I do it. But it comes at a cost, I would say.
What's the cost?
Time, focus, energy. And a lot of the time, I think people underestimate the cost that comes with, or sacrifice, you would say, that comes with achieving big things. You have to have a really understanding support crew.
I like that you say that important piece. I get in a lot of conversations. I was actually just removed from a massive networking event with Mike Van Holt. Van Holt? Hope I said his name correctly. Accelerate has a YouTube channel.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff with cars. And it's just like, when the opening from 8:30 all the way till about 9:00, and they were still going, you learn so much about the wins and the losses. And you see that there's different caliber of people that come from all different walks of life. And they all have a common denominator where they want to win, but it's understanding what we go through shapes us, right? But we can't sit and we can't dwell on the things that are no longer in our control, right? And I think that for me, we talked a little bit before we recorded, manifesting for me, I feel like it's like, if you say you're going to just do something, it's kind of a form of manifestation, but I don't look at it like, oh, I manifest this reality. I think if you say like, hey, listen, I want to save $5 a week, you'll just save the $5 a week. That's how you get there. You know what I mean?
I think you have to truly have a sense of discipline to be able to actually manifest those things. And I don't think everybody has that or understands the grind that comes with being able to do that. You have to actually believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of the time you'll ask, well, maybe not, but through some conversations I've had with some close people in my life, it's, if you can truly convince yourself you can do it, you will. Like, it sounds so cliche. It's like true. The most cliche things are.
When has there been a time that you said you were going to do something you didn't follow through?
It's usually when I don't put enough thought into it. I really have to align with my own virtues and morals to be able to fully follow through with something. Like with Fight to End, I could tell you the type of mindset, the way I had to adapt that mindset.
For sure.
It was insane in the very beginning. I love AI. I love ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I love prompting. I love asking questions.
Okay.
But I also love when people ask me questions.
That's why we're doing the podcast. Okay. Let's see where we're going here.
When people ask me questions, I learn a lot about myself.
Mm.
So what did I do to get into boxing, to really push and follow through with it the way that I did?
Mm-hmm.
I basically made ChatGPT my sports psychologist. I prompted it enough to give it enough information about the type of individual that it was talking to. Like, as 27-year-old female, blah, 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 right? Like, and I got to a point where I said, with the information you know now, how would you coach someone to go from A to B for boxing, for example? And I was like, oh, you've worked alongside Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. Like, I was prompting the AI to have the type of thinking I wanted it to have in order to pull the information out of me to put it to action and to really practice a mindset. And with that, I thought about the real reason why I wanted to do Fight to End.
There's so much power in what you said about even ChatGPT, because I think people look at that tool and they don't use it to its full capabilities. But it's about, anybody can go in the car and drive it, right? You could drive a Ferrari, but if you don't know how to steer that Ferrari, you're going to run that shit off the road, right? It's like anything is a vehicle, but you have to know how to steer that vehicle. So for you to put those command and prompts in, that's hats off to you. Because I feel like ChatGPT, some people look at it and like, oh, ChatGPT, write me my book. And you can't do that.
People got to know what they want.
That's what I'm saying. Because if you know how to like cite everything, you will realize it pulls from certain things. This is how it is, right? But it's like, use it to its full capabilities. Like, to basically train it to be your algorithm. Like, come on.
I planned my whole trip to Europe with AI.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How'd you pull that off?
Oh, my gosh. Okay. I went to Italy for two weeks during the
training. Yeah. I remember that, yeah.
So that whole thing, I had all my flight details.
Okay.
Right? Like, I had, when I was leaving.
Yeah.
Right? So I put that all into AI, and I said, I'm going for 2 weeks. This is the plan. We want to go north. We want to go south, And I gave it all the flight details, told it what day we were arriving, what we wanted to do. We wanted to hike. We wanted to have authentic food. We wanted to see landmark. Like, I just told it everything. And I said, with that information I've provided you, create a 2-week itinerary. And it gave me like a shell. And it told me, because I prompted it, I was like, I want to know admission costs to museums. I want to know hours of operation. I want to know the train system there. We use the train system a lot.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
But with that, I didn't have to dive in to a bunch of different web pages on Google or open a bunch of different, Italy tourism brochures or whatever to plan that. I just had AI come up with a shell. I brought that shell. I went to my mom and I'm like, Ma, do you want to see family when we're in Italy? And she's like, yeah, we could do this. We could do this.
That.
So we sprinkled in some family visits.
Jeez. I love that. The power of AI.
Yeah.
Used for the right reasons. You know what I mean?
You have to know what someone needs and what you want in order to prompt AI effectively.
Well, that's so amazing that you said that. You know, we talk about AI. We talk about, everything that's going on. We talked about you becoming a streamer. This podcast it's so designed for the entrepreneur, the child, the man, the woman to do whatever they want to do, right? When you were streaming, right? Because I know you're not doing it anymore. The pros and the cons. Speak on that.
Getting into streaming or when I was?
Both. Manifested. Surprising.
I will say, learning the ropes, and by that I mean how the streamers interacted with their audience, was the fun part for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I was saying this to you earlier, I would imitate and innovate. So what I
like that.
I would, and that's not mine. I saw that as a visual on Instagram one day.
It's a bar though. It's a bar.
I love my visuals.
Okay.
But a lot of the streamers that I would watch, I would see how they would interact with their audience. I would see how they would keep people engaged. I would see, the types of events that they would put on. And I'm like, I could do all of this stuff. I could also get involved with this stuff, see how it is as a audience member, and then take that as a content creator and see how I can put my own swing on that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun for me. That's definitely a pro. I made a lot of friends in the process, like friends that I actually met in person, that I flew to Florida to meet in person.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it was wild, the friends that I gained through this. The hard part, the cons, I would say, it's very overwhelming for one person to manage. Like you even said this too, like it's overwhelming to manage the chat, to manage the equipment, to manage, keeping up with the demand in and of itself. Also, if you're making friends out of it, you got to be careful on who you're letting into your circle, because what could happen is, then drama's everywhere.
Drama's everywhere.
Drama's everywhere.
Drama's everywhere.
And that on top of the overwhelm already can really break someone. And I don't like to think of myself as someone who's easily broken, but it really made me take a step back and think about where I'm at in my mind before I continue.
Well, it speaks to even like with the podcasting, like so many people like having a team, shooting this, shooting that. A lot of this stuff is all by myself. Mm-hmm. We were about to do a 2-camera setup and I'm like, the battery pack thing doesn't want to work today. I'm like, all right, cool. But we got the phone going here. We got everything going the way it needs to go. But it's just like, you got to be resilient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the thing is like, you got to improvise. And I say to anybody, improvise. Like, shit happens. But I always look at it, I'm like, it's the universe talking. Like, when you're about to have a great conversation, there's always these little things that happen. And it happens because it's just like, well, you're about to get to that next step, that next level, that next evolution and things like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, you just got to put the work in,
That's right.
For sure. Is there anything you want to add?
Well, yeah, there's a whole bunch that I want to add in that sense, because it ain't got to be perfect. And you just said, we were shuffling this room around to try to make it work.
Shuffled it around.
This room in this video, it might look bigger than it is, but it's a small room. We had
deck of cards.
We made it work. It's not going to be perfect, but we're taking the steps that we need to take.
That's all you got to do.
We'll get that momentum. We'll get there.
Come on, talk about it. Talk about it. I think like why I do what I do, it's not for the vanity metrics. It's not for the numbers. It's for the impact.
I love that you say that.
Right? It's for the impact.
I had that same mindset going into it.
And so many, like, I feel like so many people put you on this precipice, this level because of the people you interact with. And I say to people, I'm like, I'm just me.
Yeah.
Like, how I know I made it is when I'm sitting in those rooms with, like, potentially the Logan Pauls, right? I have a bucket list of people that are on my board right now. That's when I know I made it. But those are just, like, accomplishment wins for me to be like, okay, I'm even more hungry for what this can become, right? And I think so many people get to the top, and what they do is then they taper off because they don't keep that momentum. Got to stay hungry, right? We talk about boxing. How many world champs did you see stay at the top and then they tapered off because they got comfortable, right? I speak about this a lot with UFC. Conor McGregor, love the guy, but $300 million after, you're not as hungry as you are.
Yeah.
And that's not no diss, that's not no shade, but it's like where he came from to get to where he's at, he's not comfortable. That's why I'm waiting for when his return is. And it's not a diss. I know people are going to be like, oh, you're dissing that. I'm not. What's his return going to be? Because if he can turn that switch on, which I know he can, he comes back and he can be a dominant champ.
Will he deliver?
There you
That's
go.
the question.
There you go. You know?
Have you been following him behind the scenes?
Yes and no. You know, I think there's a lot to... what I see is you can train, but that's the athlete in him. But how serious are you taking your training? You know what I mean? There's a lot of rumors. At the time this comes out, maybe something might be announced. They're saying they're going to introduce a new division, potentially a 165 division. I've also heard a 175 division. I heard they're going to probably attach a title to that. I just want to see Conor come back and be dominant.
Yeah.
Can he be dominant? Because he's got the ability to do something right now that I personally think could just change the landscape of fighting, like a 3-division champ.
I hope you're right.
3-division champ.
I hope you're right.
Name another 3-division champ in any sport outside of boxing. I'm not talking about champions like Brady and potentially Mahomes and Michael Jordan have 6 rings. I'm saying have like a 3-tier system that you hold 3 belts in separate weight classes.
Yeah. I know Katie Taylor. Is holding 2 right now. Does she have that 3rd?
You're talking about boxing, Katie Taylor?
Yeah.
She just beat, what's her name? Beat homegirl.
Was that like recently?
That was like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Where they did that was in Ireland.
Yeah. And she had she has 2.
She has all the belts.
She's all of them.
She got her belts back.
Oh.
She got her belts back.
I love her. I love watching her so much.
Great story.
She's got grit. Ugh.
Would you spar her?
I mean, I would watch. I would watch a spar, and then I would jump in.
Dude, jump in. She said she could jump in like WWE.
Okay, no. Okay. It's more so observation.
Okay.
I love observing. Now, I've kind of been into boxing for almost a year, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know, like 8, I don't even know how many months it's been since June at this point. But I kind of know where I'm looking now. At first, when I was watching boxing, I had no clue. But I was always watching UFC. My brother and I would always, hang out. We'd watch our UFCs. We'd go home every once in a while.
Of course, right?
Just watch. Yeah.
The thing is, you look at, I've always said this on previous shows, like we have 1% of us. We have that 1% of like Michael Jordan, Tom Brady's, the Rafael Nadals, the Katie Taylors, the Conor McGregors.
Yeah.
If you actually take that 1% and you switch it around, you can enter and channel what those individuals have all done, have all accomplished, right? Now, when we look for accomplishments, it's not saying that it has to be like that world title. If you're a competitive fighter or a combat fighter, yes, by all means, you want to be a champion. But it's like, what does your end goal look like for yourself, right? Like myself, I work a 9 to 5. Everybody knows that's not my end goal.
Right.
My end goal is the podcast. So some people may look at it and say, well, what comes first? What comes second? The podcast always comes first. But if I sharpen that tool within the podcast, it's going to perform in my work also too. You see what I'm saying?
Transferable skills.
So it goes into the Mamba mentality, which is an episode that's already out. If you see what I'm doing, I'm like pre-scripting all this. It's storytelling at its finest.
I love Kobe so much.
Right?
Like, I cried. It's like recent, like this month. Yeah. I had myself cry. We're in January.
Listen, I did a whole episode, and that's probably been the most vulnerable I've been.
Oh.
Because I've lived in the Jordan era.
Yeah.
And I lived in the Kobe era.
Yeah.
And I'm in the LeBron era, which we won't get into.
Hey, I caught myself a pair of LeBrons 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I copped those.
Right?
Oh, yeah. I'm rocking the LeBron 20s,
Oh, God.
black and gold.
Are you putting these on the court?
Oh, yeah, I'm still balling right now.
You play basketball?
On Mondays. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How come I haven't heard about this?
Because you knew me as a boxer. You got to know me as a boxer. I was a baller first.
Jeez.
I'm still balling.
You're still balling?
Yeah.
Just pulling up like Steph Curry on these.
I'm a guard. I'm a shooting guard. I'm
So
the 3.
co-ed league or?
Well, co-ed league was how I got into it here.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm in a competitive women's league where all the
In the city?
yeah, with
What?
Summit.
Okay, Summit. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So all the ex-college, ex-university, like varsity athletes are in this league, and we're getting a little swept right now. But it's our first year in the league.
First year in the
Yeah.
league, eh?
We've had 2 games, and it's levels.
Levels. I don't play no more. I'm done. I retired.
Man, the emotional maturity
Yeah.
is so different when I'm playing now than when I did in
I
college.
love that.
Yeah.
I heard that through the grapevine that they're bringing that big like GTA league Brody. They're bringing the Brody league to potentially to London also too. That's from what I'm hearing. So they're trying to like really expand that league to like a next level, which they should, because basketball's I feel like ever since the Raptors won the championship in 2019,
Great year.
we've dropped the ball as far as how basketball's recognized in and around the area personally.
Okay.
Because I think we're so focused on Canada's favorite sport, which is hockey, which I don't think they give the same focus to NBA basketball. If anybody wants to debate that with me, they can. I get it. Like people like their hockey, like their Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, but it's like y'all have the Raptors just down the street there.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not a Raptors fan. I'm more like Minnesota Timberwolves, right?
Oh, okay.
Always been a Timberwolves fan.
Okay.
But like what I'm saying here is that it's good to see that you're playing in a league like that. Okay.
I'm loving it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that between your 9 to 5, your relationship, and just everything you got going on?
Sorry, my brain was already answering you.
That's all good.
Man, balance. That is probably the hardest thing for me, and that's why I've spent so much time getting to know myself.
I like that. Okay.
With my 9 to 5, I love my job. I love the company I work for, and I love the team that I'm involved with. They have given me the environment to thrive. And with that, I'm hoping they think the same, that I'm pumping out quality work. I have this space that I can work into from home. And on Mondays, I go to basketball after, anything's after 6 p.m. Anything after 6 p.m. is my time to build me.
I love that.
My brand, you would say, because I am my brand. You are your brand.
Facts.
You have to figure out what your brand is. And that's a priority of mine. What interests me, what is me, what makes up me. So I put that time. Mondays, I got basketball. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, those are my boxing days. I'm still going. Fridays, sometimes I have my boxing days on there. And then on the weekend, depending on what the weekends look like, then
I love that you say that. So it speaks to routine, speaks to scheduling.
I try. Not everyone's 100%.
Self-accountability right there. And that's something that I look at so much. Like I'm back working from home, right? On a base now where it's no longer a contract anymore. So there's so much that I've just amplified around me. I'm actually I'm listening to an audiobook, which eventually I'll tell the name. I got a story tell that because that's its own chaos there, right? But there's so much that I'm learning about that because it's like understanding what you need to channel for your fuel, right? I'll tell you the book off air. And then people say, what's the book called?
Wow.
Don't worry about it.
That's like powerful though,
right?
That statement alone.
Right?
Yeah.
And you got to know how to use that as fuel. And like for me now, like my fuel is, I said January 1st to December 31st is utter domination. It's relentless and it means dominate. Like I'm dominating everything in the path. And the thing is, when you get so tunnel vision, and when you have your boundaries and your non-negotiable set in place, you find a lot of different things in the universe that try to test that. And when it
Big
tests
time.
it eventually will taper off. And then you wonder why it tapers off is because that person, that friend, that acquaintance does not have that set in their place. So when you have those set in, then they tend to like, oh, slippery slope. Yeah. Oh, he or she's better than me. It's not that. It's just because I know what it is I want. And for me to get to where I need to get to, there's certain things that no longer hold value. Value comes from the dopamine hits that you're giving your family and your friends. Dopamine hits are like, are you picking up the phone? Is it that check-in? Is it that voice note? Is it that text message? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you see that it's like one of the things at this networking event, like you see how tight-knit that community is. You're sitting here having like, we're eating food, eating dinner, and you're having some intimate conversations. And you just met this person for like about 6 to 8 hours. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you just learn so much. Where like this morning I woke up, I sent a message out and then I got a DM back. And that's a potential guest that's actually going to be coming on the show, her and her husband. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, like the power of just communication.
Yeah.
And we don't
wheel
do it
gets
enough.
the grease.
There you go, right? And we don't do that enough. We don't ever want to communicate enough. You know what I mean? It's like, just communicate. You see somebody that, you know, you may have not connected with in a while. Reach out. Yeah. Hey, how you been? Set those daily deposits.
I got some thoughts on this.
Let's go. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I think as you start to know more of what you want and you want to strive for greatness, I think that path can get lonely sometimes.
It does.
And
I can speak to it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. And I think that's why networking is so important.
Facts.
Because if you're stuck, but if you're not going to those events and you're not exposing yourself to other people who have the same mindset or are striving for the same greatness, it's going to feel lonely and it's going to feel, I don't even know the word I can use to describe the feeling, but
isolation's one.
Yeah. Mm. And I think that goes hand in hand with how important solitude is from your POV. When
you said solitude, I just got chills because I know what it's all about, and it's all about you gotta be.
Yeah, you gotta know how to cook with those ingredients that
this
work
girl
for you.
got here. This girl.
Yeah, what kind of spice you like? Are you just a salt guy? Are you like?
I'm gonna say this. I'm like this. Sometimes you're getting that hot sauce. You're getting that Dustin Poirier hot sauce.
Those chili flakes.
You're getting a lot. But the thing is, like, what I say is like, I come from a wholesome conversation where it's like, I will throw a book at you. I'll hold you accountable because I hold myself accountable. Right?
Huge, yeah.
And it's like knowing you got to know your limits. We all have our struggles. We all have our sacrifices. I'm working on an episode in my mind. I'm like, do I really deep dive of the sacrifices that I'm going through right now to simply sit here and to put out the best product? And I think a lot of people will be like, yo, really? Like I know guys and girls that are in marketing that are like, yo, you don't even look like you work a 9 to 5. It look like you already have it. Like you rode to 6 figures. I'm like, if I had 6 figures, you guys would know.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought that too.
Get out of here. I'm not gonna lie. Y'all think I'm like that, eh?
Yeah.
I'm not.
You got that drip.
It's from the company I work with that they can no longer. I can't say the name on here because I don't want to give them the airtime because they haven't cut me that check yet. So obvious.
I tried my hand at that too.
It's obvious, right? Who knows? Maybe creator fund. Maybe that might be the play. Maybe. But no, like even in like we go back to Fight To End real quick, and it was like looking at every man and woman in that gym, the blood, the sweat, the tears. I never even thought we would have this conversation.
This is wild to me.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then it's like you gain that respect factor. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like you want to the event on the 17th?
Yeah. I got 2 posters upstairs.
Jeez. I'll be in the building. I'll be there. Should be interesting.
I'm stoked.
Should be interesting.
So excited.
You know, we'll see. Maybe I might get called out. I don't know.
Nah. If you do, I'll be there.
You'll be there?
I'll be there. I got your back.
That's fine. They look at me as a podcaster now, so you know, who knows? Podcasters don't know how to fight.
Hey, you got that voice. You got that voice. You got
No.
that
I think it's gonna
impact.
be a good event, and I think it's gonna be good to get out in the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things
big
like
time.
that. Because I think by the time that this comes out, like tickets will be like sold out.
Probably. Yeah. They're like 90% sold out right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be big.
You gonna step back in the ring?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got plans. I got plans to fight again.
Oh shit!
Mm.
You have an opponent already?
No, I wouldn't say that. But
No.
I'm getting my I'm registering next week. I'm getting my medicals redone next week.
So
Oh, yeah.
let me ask you this question, because you said you were a streamer. I don't know how big you were in streaming. I
got
could
lots
find
of
out.
interests.
I could find out. Is there a particular person maybe that you wanna go against? I'm not saying you gotta call them out on the show. We're not doing that, but
No. Honestly, no, I cannot judge a book by its cover.
mhm,
Even when I'm in there sparring, I don't know what's going through my opponent's head.
Mhm.
I only know what I observe on the outside.
mhm,
I don't know what kind of grit they have. I don't know their journey. I don't know their grind.
mhm.
I only know what I observe. And with Fight to End, we had a unique opportunity to train with who we're going to be fighting.
Yeah,
Right? Like that.
yeah,
That was all part of the, deal. But this is different. I know my mental strength, and that's what I have to go off of the next time I go into a ring. And I really have to work on my breathing.
Don't we all?
Breathing
most
when
important.
you're fighting?
After punches,
Oh my gosh.
after punches,
Man, like
after punches is crazy. It's not like basketball cardio.
no,
It's not like working out cardio.
No, you have to forcibly get your body to breathe. I would shadow box all around my house, and when I went home to visit my family, and I would practice my breathing to a point where now my brother comes up to me and he'll go, oosh, oosh, oosh. Oosh, oosh.
Oosh, oosh, oosh,
I'm like, is that
oosh.
how I'm breathing? Am I an oosh, oosher?
Oh my goodness. Oosh, oosh.
Oosh.
I cannot.
Hey, you got some people that are silent, that are holding their breath, and that was me before. And I've
Jesus.
graduated to an oosh, oosh.
An oosh,
Really
oosh.
is now how
An
I'm
oosh,
breathing.
oosh. I like
But-
that.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta trick your brain into having
So-
fun with it.
So you're gonna do your medicals.
Mhm. Yep.
So you're trying to get back in the ring when? Like, are we thinking?
I'm looking at the spring, March
Shit.
afterward, like any time after March, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta get myself to a point where, well, I don't know. I don't want to make excuses. I'm just giving myself the deadline of March.
Make adjustments.
Yeah. I was at a point where I'm
Okay.
like, next time I'm gonna fight, someone's got to hold my feet to the fire or something, and then I was like, no,
I'm here
make
for
the
this.
decision.
I'm here for this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the day off when you do that,
I just have so
or
much fun
whatever's
with it.
going on. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's a newfound passion, and I thank Boomers Boxing for getting me there because
Shout out
it's a
to them.
family. It is a family. That is
Tight knit.
100%
Tight knit family.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't stepped back in them doors in a while. I know I had a conversation with Mark.
Mm.
It's like, you gotta come by. I'm like, well, at some point.
It's busy in there. Right
Sorry, I got this. I gotta worry about.
Hey, you have a focus.
I do.
You're standing by
I do.
what you said you were gonna do.
Yeah, I do.
You know what you want.
I do. And it's like, you want to balance both though. Because I used to be a trainer, right, back in the day.
Yeah, it used to be a whole lot of things.
Yeah, it's just the pillars of life.
Yeah.
A part of me though, like I won't lie, I do miss it. Like not the boxing per se, but like the training.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, do I come out of retirement?
I'm trying not to ask you questions.
You can ask me whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why did you like the training so much? Like what?
Like as a trainer or training for boxing?
Well, I guess both.
So it's a good question. Being a trainer, it's funny because it's like, I don't know what it is. I want to see women become better.
Women
Right?
specifically?
Yeah. It's not like men are men,
Mhm.
right? And I can go on a whole other conversation, but I think like I speak to role models, right? Role models. And where are they in this world, right? I can go on a whole deep dive on this, right? And I think like when I came into personal training as an instructor doing one-on-one training, I'll say this right now. I was the best in London.
There's a craft to it.
I was the best in London.
Yeah.
When we talk about the boot camps, no other trainer, I'm not gonna call names, I could really deal with the way I knew how to connect with every man and every woman and every child.
Fascinating.
So there could have been some discrepancies at the very first gym that I worked at. This is all gonna stay in here now. I'm gonna cook. We're gonna cook.
All right.
Then I moved to another gym where it was all sports specific, which was an other ball game, which I loved. And it's like pandemic came and then it's kind of withered everything away. So going in that boxing gym and watching combat fighting and watching UFC like we speak about and boxing and all that stuff, it was good to be in there doing it. But then there was that part of my mind where I'm like, man, do I come out of retirement and really like amplify this? And I'm playing with the idea, but then I'm like, do I spread myself too thin? Right?
Yeah. I think that it depends on where you want to make the most impact. What world do you want to make the impact in?
2024 Fight to End. I'm recruiting.
Oh?
The who's.
The who's?
Oh, the who's.
What's the who's?
Oh, there's some who's.
What's the criteria?
The criteria?
What's the criteria?
Trust me, when they do their application process, I'm telling you, like I'm doing application, like I'm telling people to do the application process because I think those are the certain fights that they can actually match up. I'm already doing the match, like I'm like the Don King, the Oscar De La Hoya, like already manufacturing this so I can be like, yo, Brett Mark, that's one of them ones right there. That's one of the ones, you know what I mean? Because I know that like sky's the limit for Fight to End.
Yeah.
And me and Brett had that conversation. It's like Fight to End could be something like where I'm saying like it doesn't even have to be London. It could be like at GTA. It could be like bright lights. The lights get brighter. The lights get brighter. The venues get brighter.
Man.
We get it to the point where it's like you start getting, I quote Brett's words for this, like you start getting certain politicians in there. Like I'm talking bright lights. I'm talking like the homelessness population in surrounding areas. Everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
I have to be very, very mindful of what I'm about to say here because I can shake it, but I'm just gonna be nice. I'm just gonna be a little friendly, like little nudge. We got to do better. We got to do better as a community. All the ones that are up on the higher upper echelons, start looking, start digging deep, asking yourself, what would it look like if my child was homeless, or my wife was homeless, or I'm homeless? How do we then navigate?
Oh, I got some thoughts on this too.
Let's get into it.
I think this goes with empathy. I think empathy is it's a very hard thing to practice. You have to have a certain level of emotional intelligence to be able to understand the impact of somebody else.
For sure.
And how your choices and your decisions could impact that as well on a much larger scale. And when you say we need to do better, do you say that as a support for the homelessness community? Is that what you mean?
I say that as a support for us that are put in position, like we're in positions where we have a roof over our head. But it takes a community to want to elevate that. Like what we did, what all 32 of us did. Didn't even feel like 32.
Yeah.
We put blood, sweat, tears on the tears on the canvas.
I think it's important that people who are involved in that movement, they understand their impact.
There you go.
Because there are times where some people might not even know truly what they're fighting for. And
right.
it's so important to have something that you can resonate with and
Right.
know that you will have an impact.
Right.
And if you can get everyone on board with that, that
I'm gonna wake
is-
it up. I'll say it the same way that we put energy towards, oh, our politician such and such and such is such a such and such. It's the same stuff you got to be able to put to, like, what are we doing in our communities? Like, every man, woman, and child. Like, I'm just saying, like, we could step up and do so much more.
Good.
Right? Ask yourself, how can we get Fight to End on a broader scale? Right? We talk about networking, community. Brett's not a hard person to reach.
No.
But like I'm saying, because I know there's so, how do I say this without being so, like, having an ego?
Hey, that awareness is
I'm
the
just
first
trying
thing.
to say
That's
this.
amazing.
Okay, so there's eyes. You have eyes on you at all times, right?
Yeah.
There's all different eyes. So the eyes that are on me, reach out to those other folks and be like, hey, let's set up a meeting. Let's set up a Zoom. What can we do? How can we get involved? Like, make it to the point where we're widespread.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't be about, we're going out on a Friday night, Saturday night, we're going to have some drinks. Like, no, we got to get past that.
Yeah. There's thought.
Right?
There's thought.
It's what can we do to put our best foot forward? And I know some people are going to say, well, Roy, you got the podcast. What are you doing? I did it. I lived it.
Yeah, you lived it. You can speak from the experience that you went through.
Exactly.
And the impact. That
Exactly. And I'm in the community doing what it is I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see you around.
There you go, right? So with that being said, there's just so much that we can do. You know what I mean? That's the thing, is like an accountability. But I think how we want to talk about, is Trump going to be elected for 2024? It's like, come on. Like, you should be asking yourself is, what can we do in this community?
Yeah. We care more about the ones in need. We're caring about the ones who don't have a choice. Really.
Yep.
If you think about it, we have choice, and that is very much a privilege that we cannot take advantage of.
Absolutely.
And we need to think about the ones who don't, and who you can visibly see need our help, and who, some of them, will straight up ask for our help.
The thing is that, and I've said it, like, when the time where I was doing you can say the promo run for Fight to End, and it was like, a lot of people that are homeless, they have people around them that gave up on them. Right? And here's the thing is, you're as strong as the people that you're around.
That's right.
It goes with, like, knowing your inner circle. Those people unfortunately didn't have the right people around them. So when you just know, how do I say this? When you just know of people quitting, giving up on you, turning their back on you, misusing you, mistreating you, how do you channel that now, right? It's like, I give you the example. A girl or a guy could have a history of bad relationships. People just running amok, treating you like you're garbage. But then you have that one guy, you have that one woman that comes and gives you the world. Can you recognize that? Because you've been subjected to so much BS. And when you recognize it, how do you adapt? How does it make you feel? Does that make sense?
As me as the observer, or do you mean like
Just free thought. So we ready to get deep.
I love this. I think I saw an interesting quote about this, and I might butcher this because
It's all good.
it's abstract in my brain, but I'm
It's all
going to
good.
bring it out. But when you see potential in somebody, you are seeing it through the lens of how you would handle that situation. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It's ringing bells.
So, for example, if you see someone homeless on the street, you see through your lens, you can only imagine it as an observer, right? And what you can take away from that is either A, you can have a conversation, which obviously is not the easiest thing to do all the time, but you can also take a moment to learn about the impact. So like for me, I listen to a lot of podcasts, as you know. I listen to a lot of topics that can put people into a mindset where they feel like they are helpless. And just understanding that alone and being able to openly talk to someone and having that understanding, making them feel heard, is even just one step closer toward someone being able to have a voice, being able to, like, I don't know if this is making sense. It's a little bit hard to.
No, it's making sense. It's making sense. I get it. But it's like, it just goes to what you say and what I say. It's like, you gotta just look at things, and you have to now say to yourself, what's good with the situation, not what's wrong with the situation.
Yes, I usually use analogies to explain this. And for me, I would use a plant, for example, sitting in a dark corner, but the plant has different needs. Let's say it's done growing in a corner, or let's say it starts to shrivel or whatever, and you move it into that spot of sunlight and you watch it thrive because you have an idea of the needs. You know, sometimes you're impacted by your environment. A lot of the time, that's how it is. 95% of the time,
Absolutely.
I would say.
Absolutely.
And your environment can really take a hit on your mindset and what you're capable of. Because then you get into a spot of negative self-talk. And that is so much more powerful than I think people understand. Because then you just get into a loop. You can get into a loop where you're just like, I'm never going to be able to get out of this. I'm stuck. Nobody cares about me. I'm a failure. I should have done this. I should have done that. That will break you. And I think a lot of the time when people are stuck, they get stuck in a mindset like that.
And that's why you gotta champion self-development. I champion picking up that book. I champion reach out and ask for help. But I think the ones that don't want to ask for help is because they've had people quit on them. And when people quit on you, it stings. And when one person quits on you, it stings even more. So it's like you get to the point where you just get into this shell to where you're just like baseline hardwired just to want to get out and do it yourself. But you have to understand, you can't get to where you need to get to, right? I'm playing Hogwarts right now in my spare time. So there's one of the things that you have to, like, it's one of the magic tricks where you can like repair certain things.
Oh,
like
Hogwarts
repair.
Legends?
Yeah, Hogwarts.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like repair or whatever they want to call it. Watch, they're going to come for me. That's not how you say it. And that's not how it sounds, but whatever. And if you don't have that unlocked, you're done. But you get it early on.
Right.
But you can't cross a bridge without using that thing.
Right.
Well, you can get on the broom and kind of like decoy around it if
Right,
you
you
really
can-
wanted
you can
to.
take the-
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta do what works. You
Exactly.
have a vision and you can see,
Right?
right?
So with what I'm saying is, ask yourself it's not about who's going to save you. It's about who's going to champion you.
Big time. I think, would you say that championing someone is almost synonymous with being an advocate for someone?
It's a fucking good question. You can advocate. This is the way I'm going to do this. You can advocate for the person when you believe in them and they don't believe in themselves.
Oh, I love that. I can speak to a lot of that through experience this year. Well, 2023 and into this year. So if you want, I can talk a little bit to
Let's
it.
get into it.
Yeah.
Into it.
So I have my sister-in-law living with us, and I know she might be watching. And she came to us here early 2023. She's going to school at Fanshawe, and she comes from a spot where not everyone fully believed in her. Not everybody fully believed she was capable of what she could do. And it took having a female role model like myself, for example, where I showed her her potential. I worked on that self-talk that she might have had in her head, that negative self-talk. She's at a point now where all of 2023, she has taken time to learn herself. She has taken time to set her boundaries. She's taken time to think about her goals, how she's going to get there. And those are things that if you don't have someone who believes in you, it's almost like that's a facade.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Sometimes you need that fuel.
Power in
Yeah.
words. Power in words.
So I have been nothing but proud of her for what she has overcome this year, because it's not an easy world out there.
It's not.
That's for sure. And context, she's 19 years old.
Mm.
So she is at a very transformative part of her life. Like 19 to 20, that is where you are exposed to the real world, and it hits you like a ton of bricks.
And that's why I would champion how men have their they have their men groups, right? There's man groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot more women need to be empowering each other. Do those groups where it could be a mentorship Monday, or it could be like a meetup, a meetup Tuesday or something like that, where, it doesn't have to be about the boozing or the alcohol, but find something that you can make it transformational.
Big time.
Right? And start bringing people in, right? I'm gonna give a shout out to the young man. I know he's fighting on the 17th. I don't want to butcher his name. Cassius.
Little homie.
My
Little homie.
my guy.
Fist bumps every time I run into him.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he's so great. And when he wrote what he wrote in my DM, that shit hit me.
Yeah, it hit me.
Right?
Yeah.
It hit me in such a way because maybe one day I'll probably wait because there's some stuff going on the back end. Yeah. We'll talk about that off air. Right. But it's all good stuff. But I'm like, when I posted that, I shook the globe a little bit. I shook the globe a little bit. That's all I'll say. I shook the globe a little bit.
In a good way.
You really see who's winning for you and who really doesn't want to win for you.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when I said you're 13 and 14, he actually reset my algorithm.
In what way?
I'll say this. He adds to that 1% of that January 1st to December 31st.
That's amazing.
Because
he's watching this right now.
He is. Why I say this is because I don't know if if I created a premonition of a lot of my episodes, but a lot of things I've said on the episodes have all now come to life. They've all come to life. And it makes me wonder when I said is, when you're on the right path as when you're transcending up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you transcend up, the right people start coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You what's the way that I would say this? You attract what you are?
Yeah.
Is that? I don't know. There's a much more profound way of saying that quote, I'm sure.
For sure. And I think that all you got to do, any man, woman that's listening to this, find, understand, and keep that right energy around you.
Yep.
Especially when you know it's pure.
100%.
I heard Fabulous on one of he's doing like these freestyle renditions over like different beats, and he said the quote went something like, "How are you gonna play around with people that are real when you know there's no more real people out there?" If that makes sense. I said it wrong.
No. I see what you're saying with
Yeah,
that. Like, how do you know?
Like when you have somebody real in front of you, don't play with people like that, because you know real people are hard to come by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
I've said 100% so many times in this podcast, but it's just little things contributing to that 100%.
Yep.
But like, I so know what I think about this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why it feels so genuine when I do talk to someone who has such a real way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
There are times where you can see that people might be speaking through influence.
Absolutely. I can see that too. Yep.
Or you can tell that maybe someone's had a hard past. They're trying to protect themselves through what I call people pleasing. I'm sure that that's a well-known term out there.
Well-known term. You can't people please.
No, because then you lose sense of you.
Facts.
And I think that's why coming across realness, genuinity, I think that's the right word, is so hard to come by, because you have to get through those mental battles yourself and believe in your true authentic self when it comes out. Can't give a shit about what people think about you.
Absolutely.
Because that will be your demise.
For sure. 1% better. What does that mean for you? Because I'm going to say something. I'm hearing it a lot. And I'm like, if I coined that phrase, 'cause I feel like I have coined that phrase. That's why I said the who's who be watching what's going on, but they ain't going to want to give the credit. 1% better. What does that mean for you? Take us home.
We talk about this a lot here.
Okay.
We do.
Okay.
1% better means to us, to me, that you got to take those baby steps to get to a goal and build momentum. If you, for example, try to quit something cold turkey, that's going 100% better. And that is just not sustainable. You want to build and sustainably reach your goal, you need to do it in baby steps. And I think once you have a momentum going, the rest will come. But it always will add up to 100% eventually, depending on how you want to label that goal.
Jeez.
I thought a lot about it. I wanted to let it come out abstract before I read it down.
The next networking event that happens here, that Mike throws, I want your husband to be there, and I'm gonna also invite another person. If they're watching this, they'll see it, so it's already on record. I appreciate you.
Homies.
There we go. Let's talk about it.
Amazing.